superhuman students of UA School have faced their greatest fears after confronting some disturbing and superpowered villains. But now they face a greater challenge: the Grand UA Sports Festival, an event so large that it has actually eclipsed the Olympic events. All that and more in the beginning of the second season of My Hero Academia. The months of waiting for the second season of My Hero Academia have frankly been pretty excruciating. This is a series that honestly to me is like the next coming of Naruto. That's sort of the feeling that I get from it. A lot of that has to do with its incredibly quirky characters, pun intended, the fact that they all have unique designs and amazing personalities, and the fact that they're all just really fun to spend time with makes this just a blast of a series. Not to mention, we get back to the story of Izuku Midoriya, otherwise known as Deku, otherwise known as the next practitioner of the one-for-all superhuman ability. And we get to see some more teases about the history of that in this episode, where it opens up with All Might actually sending this letter to his former master, who I believe was probably the person who originally used the all-for-one ability. They make sure to keep this guy obscured, and he seems like he's very teeny. I'm not really sure what's up with this guy, but maybe just like All Might, he had to suffer the repercussions of using this ability before he passed it off to someone and went through a drastic transformation. What's most cool about this episode, though, is that it immediately picks up from where it left off. We just begin from where that arc ended, where the villains came in and started to mess everyone up, and they're not even skipping a beat. Everybody has been healed, school has been temporarily canceled, we get right back into the swing of things. Shota Aizawa just appears from out of nowhere looking like a friggin' mummy walking into class and announces that the UA Sports Festival is about to begin. Now, of course, everyone's really upset at first because a sports festival just sounds like a normal school event. However, for the UA school, it's something else entirely. It's such a massive event that everyone in Japan considers it like the biggest sports thing of the year. It's become so popular that nobody even cares about the Olympics anymore. I mean, honestly, if you could skip the Olympics to watch like a sporting event with superpowered characters, you know that you would check it out. It would be freaking incredible. This is also really important because, one, the students get to prove themselves, and they also get to have the opportunity to be picked up by an agency, as there's going to be a lot of scouts who are going to be watching this, and of course that's the dream of every superhero, to get picked up by a big group, given lots of support, a really cool superhero outfit, and to get to do what they do best: kick the shit out of some villains and make some dough on the side doing it. Everybody has their motivations behind this, and essentially this whole scene is basically a reintroduction to the classroom and seeing everyone's favorite students. I'm glad that everyone is still around. Suyu the frog girl, Mineta the super pervert, not to mention Kaminari the electrical idiot, and, of course, my personal favorite, Tenya Ida, who is so expressively hilarious in this episode. I love the fact that every single time his arms move, you hear like a swishing sound. He's like a friggin' Power Ranger. There's also the character of Ochako Uraraka, who gets a lot of development in this episode, actually. Not only having the episode named after her, but getting to see some of her motivations as to why she became a hero in the first place. She's actually trying to help out her downtrodden family, who own a construction business, which is basically just going in the hole. So she wants to become a hero so that she can make some money and support them. It's a little different, not as grandiose as some of the other characters, but I like it because it's more realistic. Not everybody has this like weird, annoying, tragic past that they're going to have to try and get over, and I'm glad that we have a more simpler goal for Ochako. That and the fact that her overall personality in this episode is funny, how she switches to being super intense to being super adorable again. That flashback of her of a kid, one of the cutest damn things that I have ever seen. It's owed a lot to the art style of the series, which tends to just go all over the place, with some characters looking downright alien, and others just looking plain normal. One of the big scenes at the very end of the episode is when Deku is having lunch with All Might, and they're discussing what actually happened during that event when all the villains came in, and he was able to use the all-for-one ability without actually completely destroying his arm. The reason, according to Deku, is that because he was using his ability against a human for the very first time, and he was able to sort of, as All Might said, unconsciously pump the brakes a little bit on his power. Which is really strange that he was able to do that in a human situation, but when going up against, like, say, a giant robot or anything else, he completely wrecks his arm. Maybe we could chalk this up to the fact that he is actually getting used to the abilities, or maybe there is a darker element at play here with him actually going up against a human. Despite that, I think it's really interesting development for the character, and I can't wait to see how these abilities are going to evolve, especially because at this big UA Sports Festival, All Might wants Deku to basically pound his chest in front of everyone and be like, hey, I got the all-for-one abilities, bring it! So what's the rundown on this episode of My Hero Academia? Man, I am glad for this series to be back. I absolutely love these characters and spending time with them, especially because they're just so damn weird. Just like the One Piece anime and manga series, this is a show that really embraces the absolute absurdity of superheroes. Hell, one of the characters has a freaking crow for a head, who I think is going to be so much fun. He did some great stuff in the first season using those shadow abilities, but there's a lot of shots of him in the intro using his abilities as well, which, the intro, we gotta talk about that. It's basically just a big preview for the UA Sports Festival, and it looks like it's going to be awesome. It's not going to be like a typical, like, track and field type of event. There's probably going to be some fighting, there's going to be some big demonstrations of powers. It looks like that you have Izuku, who's going to be going up against the one character who has fire and ice abilities. Unfortunately, his name just escapes me at the moment. There are a ton of characters in this series, by the way, so it is very hard to sort of keep up with all of them. But, you know, they have such distinctive personalities that you can't help but want to fall in love with every single one of them. They're just all so bubbly and fun. And that also extends to the outro of this week's episode, which definitely focuses a lot more on the female characters, but I like it. It's sort of like a great juxtaposition to the intro, which is just so brash and action-packed and crazy. And you can even see that this series takes a lot of inspiration from American comic books as well. That final shot in the intro where you have Izuku, who's sort of like leading everyone with everybody jumping up in the air. I'm totally getting like an Avengers vibe from that, and I really dig that. I love that this is a superhero anime that sort of takes its inspiration from all different variations, not just like anime and manga, but from American comics, and even more so from some of the other characters, like the villains, which unfortunately don't get to do too much in this episode, basically just flashbacks to the characters like Shigaraki and Kurogiri, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with that one character who appeared in the final shot of the first season, that weird, freaky-looking ninja guy. I can't wait to see what sort of role that he is going to play. And of course, there's also some more little story elements with all the big teachers talking about the events which were going down, with the villains actually appearing, what their actual motivations are. The fact that Shigaraki himself might be some sort of weird, creepy-ass man-child. I don't know, maybe he's a character who never had an opportunity to go through the UA school or any sort of other superhero schooling, and it sort of caused him to go completely insane. It's all just speculation, but he's definitely turning into a pretty intriguing villain. And I'm still confounded by the principal of the school. What the hell is he? Is he a rat or a dog? What are his powers? What's his deal? And why is he always so damn smiling even when things are really freaking serious? It's just really, really strange. Other than that, though, this was a great reintroduction to My Hero Academia. Deku is back, and I cannot wait to see how he is going to become the greatest hero in the series. It's a journey that I can't wait to be a part of, and you guys should all be tuning in if you're looking for a brand new action anime series. I highly recommend the first season. It's also worth mentioning that I do not read the manga version of this series, so all of this is fresh to me. I don't know what's going to happen, and I kind of like it that way. I've always liked the option of being able to watch the anime version as opposed to reading the manga. I just like voices, I just like color, I like animation. And this is a series that I think is really going to pick up a lot more in the second season. As we've now been introduced to the characters, let's see them go through some pretty crazy story arcs and hopefully a lot of growth. And if anything, we'll get to see more of Tenya Ida going, "Bravo! Bravo!" So yes, I liked this episode. I liked it a lot. I'm really in love with this series, and that's why I'm going to give this episode a solid 5 out of 5. A great reintroduction to My Hero Academia that'll get the fans pumped up. But you heard my thoughts about this week's episode. I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of the first episode of the second season of My Hero Academia? Are you glad to see your favorite characters back? Who is your favorite UA student? And what do you hope to see from the UA Sports Festival? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things My Hero Academia and other anime reviews like the second season of Attack on Titan that's coming very soon. Make sure to leave me a comment or two about this week's episode. I would love to chat with you guys about anything. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.